Hey guys, in my last video I already talked about Dissolution of the Flesh and mentioned that I'm doing a build. So this is that build, and I'm gonna talk about a bit more about Dissolution of the Flesh and why I think it's bad, and it's literally impossible to counter all the degen in the game. Now the main problem, and my question was, how would you avoid all the degen? And I myself did not really think this through. There are a lot more degen in the game than I thought. Like normally, when playing with the Dissolution of the Flesh jewel combined with the Eternal Youth and the Petrified Blood, essentially, instead of taking damage, you are reserving maximum life. You are reserving life. While you're taking damage, you are going to be reserving life, including all the degen effects. The Petrified Blood itself is not a degen, it's a life loss. I don't want to repeat everything I said in the previous video, so if you're still gonna be confused about the Dissolution of the Flesh, just watch my previous video. But essentially you need to stop taking damage for 2 seconds to remove a reservation, otherwise you're just gonna keep reserving and die. And also this is mostly gonna be a RIP compilation video. I recorded like 10 gigabytes of clips of me dying while mapping and from random things, and I thought, like, I made a list of how I would like mitigate and avoid the dots, because if you are ignited, for example, like, you have no control. You have to remove the ignite to stop taking damage and then wait for another 2 seconds to remove that reservation. So you want to avoid all the degen, except it's not possible. I wrote down the mitigations for physical and for chaos, but the degen list is like, burning ground is not a problem really. I have not died to burning ground. It doesn't do much damage, and you can clearly see where it is on the ground. But you could have like immune to burning ground boots. Ignites. I got corrupted ring, cannot be ignited. Bleed. Another corrupted ring, cannot be inflicted with bleed. Poison. I got chaos resistance, Pantheon powers, upgraded Pantheon powers. So chaos honestly doesn't really do much damage to me. Caustic ground, tested also same as poison, doesn't really do much. Corrupting blood, got a corrupting blood jewel, basically immune to corrupting blood. And then you would think, well, that's it, right? You are immune. Well, no. I made a short list, and this is just a small list, not like full extensive list of all the other degens that you cannot avoid. Barren squares, you step on it, degen, die. Searing totems, also degen. Vortex, degen. Essence, remnant of corruption, super insanely bad for this. Enemies have physical damage over time and slow aura. Another essence of misery. Here's dot debuff. It just courses you with debuff. Essence drain, for example. You get tagged by that. I'm not sure if essence drain would be that bad. I haven't been hit by essence drain. Ritual. Spin. You know the ritual where it shoots like 5 lasers which rotates. You get touched by that. You're also taking damage. Another essence of delirium. Cast here's version of flame dash, but like in a much wider area, also degen. Harbinger flame dash and beams, degen. And this is just the beginning. I haven't even touched Archnemesis monsters and like delve monsters. There are so many things, like it's literally impossible to avoid all the degen. So for that reason, I would not recommend you to touch the Dissolution of the Flesh. And I know people mentioned sorry, I don't remember who was doing like Dark Pact build with that, like 10k life, and it sounds cool, 10k life, but okay, you really cannot defend against this. All you can do is not step on it, just don't get hit. Actually, don't get hit would be one of the sort of semi solutions, but still, what about the physical damage over time aura? You cannot defend. Armor doesn't do anything, so you have to get mitigation. And for mitigation sources, I actually have quite a bit, but then again, this is using Abyssus, because Abyssus just gives so much damage for this. And I'm doing Voidforge Wild Strike. Voidforge Wild Strike just feels so cool, so nice. And in general, my damage is pretty decent, actually. And if not for the Dissolution of the Flesh and you would have 7k HP with like 5 million DPS, this would feel amazing for map clear. Now, people also recommended Lethe Shade and Heartstopper. Heartstopper is silly. If you look at the Trickster Heartstopper, okay, you're taking let's say here's damage over time, and you're about to die. What do? Pray that this triggers and saves you, right? That's it. Otherwise, if it doesn't trigger at the right time, you're dead. Heartstopper is just terrible. Never use it. I have not heard of any good build that would use this. This needs a rework. You cannot press a button to activate it, so you are at the mercy of RNG basically. Well, not RNG, but you're not gonna time it correctly. Like you cannot you can't ask enemies, wait, let me activate my Heartstopper. Okay, now you can hit me and then I'm gonna be immune. Yeah, sure, enemies gonna wait that. Lethe Shade is, I think, a viable solution, but 100% more duration of elements on you. You would have to be immune to other elements as well. Like Brittle, Sap, all those things, Scorch, and then Shock, Freeze. I am, by the way, immune to Shock completely just from my boots. I got over 100% avoidance to be shocked. So Lethe Shade maybe could be used, but since I'm Marauder, it's very long travel. And even then, it's just mitigation for 1 second. Take 50% less damage over time if you have started taking damage over time in the past second. So it's only for 1 second mitigation, and that's it. After that, like if you curse for like 5 seconds with the here's damage over time debuff, okay, 1 second mitigation and then you're dead. So it's still not a full counter. Other mitigation sources, endurance charges will mitigate the physical damage over time because armor does not mitigate the dots. Immortal Call, but then you would lose endurance charges. Would you want that? You can also get reduced physical damage on body armor. Doppelganger is potentially very nice because it has up to what was it, 20, up to 40% less, up to 40% less physical and here's damage taken while sane. This includes damage over time, so that would be very nice, and regen wouldn't be bad as well, although because of Eternal Youth you cut the regen in half. Strength for Blood, actually, Strength for Blood for me right now gives 10% mitigation because Strength for Blood gives you, it's the leech thing. I don't want to, leech is a bit complicated to explain, but essentially you have 20 maximum leech rate and then you get 1% less damage taken per 2%, so essentially you would get 10 by default. You take Valpact, you would get 20. However, if you're taking Eternal Youth, that cuts in half, so I end up with 10% mitigation from Strength for Blood, but only while leeching. So I got extra mitigation from there. I don't have the Determination Watcher side, but that's another source of physical damage reduction. These are no. For heals, again, Doppelganger body armor, Strength for Blood. These are again not a good way of mitigating. Fortify, by the way, is only mitigation for hits, so Fortify is also not reliable. So essentially you cannot avoid all the dots, and if you cannot avoid all the dots, you're always gonna be taking some damage, even if it's very small. You're not gonna have 2 seconds window to remove that reservation, and that's why I think it's not really worth doing a build with the Dissolution of the Flesh. Now quickly about the build other than Dissolution of the Flesh, Voidforge, and I'm getting a lot of flare damage from Abyssus, of course, and the crit multi, but also from the Bloodfest. Where's the Bloodfest? From the Bloodfest. It doesn't have to be anomalous, just the Bloodfest, because the more life you get, the more flare damage you're going to be getting from it. But actually Bloodfest is not, it doesn't scale all that well, but for Voidforge it does seem to be pretty nice, but you have to be on low life. So I also have Blessing for Anger, and what shall I say, I'm gonna leave the path of building in protocol if you want to analyze this build. By the way, this is not the correct damage. I have not imported the build since I modified it a couple times. But Voidforge scales extremely well with the flat physical damage, and Bloodfest just gives a lot, but you have to be on low life. If you are on low, oh, by the way, another thing that helps mitigate damage is this. Lotus Lantern. Damage of enemies hitting you is unlucky while you are on low life. This is only for hits, unfortunately, but still. I am also using Anomalous, if I can find it, I'm using Anomalous Petrified Blood. I tried using with the Ashes of the Stars to mitigate even more hit damage, but I was actually dying from the life loss. I just did not have enough life sustain. And right now I have 2.4 thousand life recharge per second, which never stops. It always happens. Like, you see, I'm losing life and it quickly recharges. But in the middle of the fight you can actually see quite often the life loss. And also let's not forget that rage from this is also life loss. So it's not reserving life, it's actually making you lose life. Dark Pact is also sacrifice life, so it doesn't do damage. Forbidden Rite, for example, would be damage done to you, so it would reserve life, and you would not want to play Forbidden Rite with Dissolution of the Flesh. That's why Dark Pact works well. And yeah, that's the conclusion. Don't do this build, or if you do this build, just don't use Dissolution of the Flesh. But if I were to remove this, I'm sitting at 5.6k HP. It's not enough. This would not be enough. Damage wise, it would still be probably alright. You would definitely want more HP or replace Abyssus, and if you replace Abyssus, you're gonna lose a lot of damage because of Voidforge, but you could still probably have enough damage. Or just build in a bit different way. Oh, by the way, this build is a bit expensive. I bought the Secret of Suffering just to get Brittle, and I should have pretty close to 100% crit chance. I didn't really test against big bosses. I tried like Minotaur. I got one-shotted by Minotaur Slam. I tanked on purpose, wanted to see if I would take a lot of damage, and yes, it just one-shotted me. Oh, actually, it was not literally one-shot, it's like two-shot. By the way, in all the clips, I think, or maybe not all the clips, in most of the clips you see I'm only having +1 extra strike target, and I was using Ancestral Call at the beginning, but then later I replaced the gloves, and +1 strike seems to be enough, and +2 strike would cost like 7 exalts if you want the right gloves with the implicit. If not implicit, it would be cheaper, but it would still be like 4 exalts for decent gloves. So I didn't actually go for that because the build was, well, it was fun, but it wasn't really performing. It was just, I was just dying too much and it wasn't really worth investing more. I even had Cast on Death Portal. It was very convenient, very useful. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. I actually started playing with the controller support, which changes the full UI, and I wanted to experience the controller support. It's so refreshing playing with the controller, so my next build is gonna be, if not all the clips are gonna be with the different UI and my experience with the controller, and I'm gonna be doing a nostalgic summon Raging Spirits totems. I'm gonna be using totems to summon Raging Spirits and alt quality to get more Raging Spirits, so I will have like 31 summon Raging Spirits with totems, and it's probably gonna be bad, but whatever. It's not the first bad build that I would do. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.